We served the injunction on the police. We got an additional injunction in January that said the police are supposed to enforce our orders. But up till now, nothing has happened. We have served it to the police. We have been to the OCS, the OCPD, even the regional commissioner. We have served the documents on them, but nothing happened.
I personally went and filed a complaint of malicious damage and trespassing and contempt of court, because the court had ruled that nobody should be on the property. That matter, that complaint was never dealt with by the police. The police have watched and stand by as these grabbers and invaders continue to get onto the land. We have also escalated to the regional commander. We actually met with him and presented our orders. And our expectation was he was to move immediately on the ground to clear and implement the court orders. However, he has decided to stand by and not implement the orders, which again is another contempt.
Panga, ona anachukua panga. Umeona anachukua panga. Unaona anachukua panga. Wanatupoint.
Hata watu wenye wanafyeka.
We have been the owners of this property, LR number 28401, on the Northern Bypass since 1998, when we purchased that property as investors, as a group of investors. In fact, we've had quiet possession of that land since 1998. That's now, we're going almost 25 years, until last year when we started getting trouble over the land. The land has been occupied by people who've been farming with our permission. We had allowed our neighbors to allow their workers to farm on the land, and we have had no issues with them at all for 25 years. But last year, we discovered in July last year that there was a fraudulent attempt to take our land. Somebody had gone to the lands office, pretended to be our company, and obtained a duplicate title. As you can see, we actually still hold the original title of the land. Using that duplicate title, the land was transferred to a company called Meron Limited, who we are strangers to. We did not know that company. We have never had any dealings with them. But they transferred it to that company who went on to subdivide. And it was brought to attention that they are trying to sell these pieces of land. We complained to the DCI, we complained to the Ministry of Lands, and out of that complaint, at least we can say the Ministry of Lands went ahead and cancelled their titles. So on 1st December 2023, the titles that they claimed to own were cancelled. So as we speak today, the only legal title to that land is this one. Nobody else has any other document that says that they own that land. And it is not even an issue that is in court. This is the only legal title that exists. They have gone to court to sue against the cancellation of their title, but as we stand, there is only one title on that land, and that title belongs to Langton Investments Limited. We proceeded to go to court in November and got an injunction on 22nd November that said Meron should not interfere with that land. Meron or its agents or anybody else on it. But almost immediately after we got the title, Meron doubled their efforts. They've added more infringement on the title. By the way, up till that time, there was nobody on that land. We now have more squatters in there, because what they did on December 22nd, when everybody was preparing to go and celebrate the birth of Christ, other people were going to commit more sins and enter the land and start subdividing it. They put in a tractor, started subdividing the land, and bringing more people onto the land. We actually complained. We served the injunction on the police. We got an additional injunction in January that said the police are supposed to enforce our orders. But up till now, nothing has happened. We have served it to the police. We have been to the OCS, the OCPD, even the regional commissioner. We have served the documents on them, but nothing happened. To our surprise, as we were going round and so on, we now got another court case that came up on February 14th. I think when it was supposed to be a day of love, other people were doing other things again. We got an injunction, another injunction saying that the status quo should remain in a different court, and that is now our 6th case on the same land, that's saying status quo should exist. However, that status quo order said there should be no construction on the site. So there is not supposed to be any construction going on that site. But as you know, and you have seen for yourself, there are people building there on that site. What is even more shocking for us is when we realized in the last 2 weeks that this construction is being protected, or is it supervised or watched by the police. I think you saw them for yourself. The police are hanging around there. They are walking around. We've seen uniformed and non-uniformed police walking around that site, protecting the grabbers who are building against court orders. We have two court orders. Even if one seems to be against us, there is court orders that says there should be no building on that site. But the police are there supervising these guys. We are not able to access our own land despite having the titles. And now we start to wonder, the police, are you the ones helping the legal owners, or under what basis are you on that land? How are you protecting the very people we asked you to protect us against? The very people the courts have said that you need to have an injunction against. They are still not protecting us against them. So our query is to the police, we have given you the orders. We have given you all the documentation. What is stopping you from enforcing these things? And unfortunately, as you know, we are seeing this pattern also repeated. We've seen other land. We saw Karen. We've seen other pieces of land where the exact same thing is happening in Nairobi. So we are wondering, what is the point of investment? We are investors like everybody else. We are a group of investors. If the president is going around the world trying to find investors here, and you can't protect simple things like land, you know, it's not complicated, documented things. It is simple things like land. If we can't protect those, what is the point of investing in this country? In fact, we can say even as of December 2023, there were no structures on that land at all. There were 0 structures. As it is now, there are people, we can see boundary walls, a few shacks here and there that are being built. What is even surprising is that none of this is being done. There is no county approvals, there is no county planning. So we are saying, even if they've subdivided and we are seeing people selling plots, we're like, where is the subdivision approval? Where is the county in all of these issues? Because we are saying, how can this be happening on land within the county, and the county is also not engaged? There are no approvals anywhere on these subdivisions and plans. We also know that at police, we have got the AG. The AG office has also been involved in one of our court cases, and they actually gave an opinion to the police telling them that they should enforce the court orders. We have actually seen documentation from the police to the regional commander telling him that he needs to enforce the court orders as was supplied to him. But as yet, we have not seen any action on those court orders. The orders from above, we are told they are there, but we've never seen them in writing. I guess they are not written orders from above. So we are also waiting to hear where this above is, so that they can be dealt with. But you know, we say you follow the documentation, you follow the legal process. Those are the orders that the police are supposed to follow. Tulienda Kasarani police station, tukaonana na OCPD, na tukaenda regional, tukaonana na regional commander, na tukaongea hii maneno ya Adamson Bungei, na nafikiri OCPD ni Joseph Gori. Nafikiri Joseph Gori, yeah. Hapo tulipatiana tu makaratasi, akatuliza tumpatie information, na tumempatia hiyo makaratasi yote. Ikaishia hapo. No, status quo ingiani, ndio tunasema, ndio hata tuko na complaint yetu, hata ikiwa ni status quo order ilisema kusijengwe. Status quo ni kusema kukae vile kuliko. Sasa ukiona kuna jengwa, na hata sio kujengwa, kunauzwa. Kuna jengwa na kunauzwa. Kuna wengine wanatafutiwa yani mashamba. So hiyo sio status quo, na ndio tunauliza polisi. Tuko na order inasema, hata ikiwa kuna order inasema status quo, inasema kusibadilike. Na bado mnasumamia, mnaona na macho yenu na hamfanyi chochote. Like I said, we are having to draw our own conclusions because we have been to the site, we have been to the police and raised our issues and served them the documents where nothing happened. So after that, after we've gone, we find that other things are happening to help the grabbers. So we are wondering also from the police, maybe they should be telling us, are they protecting more senior people than us? Is it that they have other titles that they have seen? You're absolutely right. I think we need to be clear as Kenyans also that land grabbing is actually partly a result of what we do ourselves. If you are buying land without titles, if you are buying land which doesn't have documents, you are also perpetrating this vice. So what we did in the newspapers last week, we have put a big advert letting everybody know that land is under court injunctions. There are court proceedings over it. You should not be buying that land at all. So we are saying to the public, avoid land that you can see has problems. You will end up losing money over the same thing. But we are also saying from a government perspective, a lot of money and time is being wasted in this country with people fighting over pieces of land. People are investing money, whether they are, they are not as wise or as informed so that they are buying it. But you look at places like what happened in Mavoko, you build a house and it will be demolished in the end because it is not your land. This is what is going to happen. But you can imagine the waste. Somebody saved a lot of money, built this whole big house, and then it disappears. So we are also telling the government, if you don't want to protect us, can you protect these small investors, these other investors who are going to come onto the land, and we know where this story is going to end. Because the title is ours, the legal position is ours, is on our side. Eventually it will happen. So why are we going to allow people to lose money? And these are not necessarily people who have a lot of money, but they are what we call our hustlers. They are going to lose money on account of people just sitting there watching. Yeah. As per now, the challenge we have and our inability to go on the land, and I think you'll have seen, there are people patrolling that land with pangas. My co-director here attempted to visit the site in December, and they were accosted by very violent people who are prepared to take on the land. So in fact, it raises our question again. If we have the court orders, like I'm showing you, we have the court orders, we have the title deed, but we don't have the land. So you start wondering in our country, is it the people with pangas who are going to rule the land, or is it the law? Because it seems the people with the pangas end up with the land. And as will happen now, if it is that everybody goes and gets people with pangas to take on the land, then we are going to end up as Haiti. Instead of us sending police there, they will be sending us their own police to protect us. We are saying that this government, and it is to the entire government, we need to be serious about law and order. We need to say, if we are calling in investors, we must protect investors, not just foreign, but also local. Because if people cannot follow law and order, if there are laws that can be broken depending on is it political interest or whoever is doing it, if there are other people who are more powerful than the law, then we are not going to get investors. Even ourselves, we have other businesses. We are not able to concentrate on other businesses because we are spending so much time trying to protect this investment. With which, by the way, I was going to say, we wanted to do other things with this investment. We want to develop houses. We want to create jobs. We want to create commercial centers on the same place. We are now unable to do it because we are having to fight and spend a lot of money and resources on fights which are actually aimless, and legally they are clear where we are supposed to be. So we are saying we can grow this country. This country is ripe for growth, for investment, and so on. But you must be prepared to defend investors. We must be prepared to enforce the law. If we can't enforce the law, then it will be very difficult for investors to continue investing, especially in land.
Ragedua. I'm also a director of Langton, and my greatest concern here is in regards to the police, because I went and reported the case when the Invst intrusion happened, and on the 22nd of December. I personally went and filed a complaint of malicious damage and trespassing and contempt of court, because the court had ruled that nobody should be on the property. That complaint was never dealt with by the police. The police have watched and stand by as these grabbers and invaders continue to get onto the land. We have also escalated to the regional commander. We actually met with him and presented our orders. And our expectation was he was to move immediately on the ground to clear and implement the court orders. However, he has decided to stand by and not implement the orders, which again is another contempt. Unfortunately, the regional commander is acting in contempt of the court, and that is very unfortunate, because now if the regional commander who is in charge is unwilling to implement the court orders, then where are we left? Where are we left to turn to? It is a very sad state of affairs. So actually, in addition, we've come to learn more recently that there are different fractions of the grabbers who are also now fighting internally, and what was shocking is that the police came in to arrest some of the group members and took them to court, arrested them, took them to court and charged them with illegal gathering and destruction of property. And to shock on us, we've come to learn that the complainant is actually a minor who is a director of Meron. So what that concludes is that actually the police are not only, they're refusing to implement the court orders, but are protecting the grabbers and Meron who are actually, the court has ruled should not be on the land. So they continue being on the land. So Meron also is in contempt as well, because they continue occupying the property and being protected by the police. So it is clear that the police has chosen to be on the side of the grabbers instead of on the side of the genuine owners.